All right, let's go ahead and get started. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, you guys are excited to talk about quizzes today, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm Adam Himmler. I'm the Sales Vice President for ShortStack, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Jessica Miller.
Hello, I'm Jessica. I've been with ShortStack for about 8 years now. I am the customer success strategist, which basically means that I just help our users be successful using our platform. I just want to quickly mention that we have pre-recorded a portion of this training, and we do that because it just makes it a whole lot easier for when this is all over to distribute this video to you guys really quickly. And for that reason, we also are going to hold questions until the end. But when a question pops in your mind during the video, then you just click on that little Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen, type in your question, and we will answer those at the end of this training. So with that, I think we will go ahead and kick off our quizzes training video.
And quizzes are some of my favorite things for businesses to do. And the reason for that is it's engaging for your audience. It's not your run-of-the-mill, just fill out a form, thanks for entering. You get to ask them a series of questions. It's more visual based, and they feel like they're having a unique experience because you are giving them a result at the end based on how they answered the questions. And with that, we also can record the choices they made to each of the questions and the result that they ended up on as well. So then not only are you creating a fun experience for your audience, but you are going to get a rich amount of information from each of your participants, which then you can just run away with and segment it, break it down many different ways, and be able to market more effectively to your audience after the fact. The two types of quizzes that we have are our personality quiz and our knowledge quiz. The personality quiz is hey, answer these questions, here's what we think you are, or what we recommend you should purchase, or so on and so forth. And the knowledge quiz is for finding out how well your audience knows a subject by having them answer a series of questions and then giving them a score at the end. I'm going to let Jessica talk about these quizzes in more detail now. So Jessica, do you want to take it over?
Thanks, Adam. This first example is what we call a personality quiz. I found one used by IKEA that was built to match participants with their ideal college dorm decor. So if I answer the questions, I'll be presented with an outcome based on my answers. So for this first question, it says pick a vacation. I definitely like the big city. Which college major would you choose? I was a history major, so I guess I'll go with English literature. Which pet is best? I'm a dog gal, and I do like the paisley. Coffee, for sure. And, ooh, I like this kind of gray here. This one's pretty neat. So I am urban minimalism. So just like IKEA used this to gauge decor preferences, just about any business could tailor a quiz like this to promote their products or services. But before we dive further into how to use this type of quiz for your business, let's look at a different type of quiz. This is a knowledge quiz, which is used to gauge your knowledge of a specific subject. So this quiz was built by a company called Icon Pass, which I believe is a pass that will get you into different ski resorts around the country. So I don't ski, I know nothing about skiing, but I will do my best. I'll just kind of go through and guess at these questions here. Here are my results. Oh my, I got 4 out of 10 for 40%, so it looks like I wiped out. And you can see that they also show the answers to all the questions. So now you've seen an example of a personality quiz and an example of a knowledge quiz. Both of these types of quizzes are awesome for a few reasons. Number one, they're really fun and engaging, and they're also a great way to collect leads, which you saw an example of in that Icon Pass example. The personality quiz can be set up to gate the results with a name and email capture as well. Adam's going to talk more about that when he walks through the quiz templates. Beyond lead capture, quizzes are a clever way to collect product preferences from each participant. For example, in the IKEA example, since I got urban minimalist as my outcome, the host of that quiz could add my email to a specific mailing list to send me discounts or deals related to products that would fit my preference. You can do the same thing with a knowledge quiz. For example, a handyman business could build a quiz using questions about important home maintenance. If the participant taking the quiz does pretty badly, like I know I would, I don't know anything about home maintenance, then this would essentially qualify the lead and could prompt a sales call from the business. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Adam so he can show you how to set something like this up in ShortStack.
Great, thanks so much, Jessica. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over our personality quiz template within the ShortStack platform. So the first thing you want to do is you'll log into your ShortStack account, and then you'll create a new campaign by clicking the blue button on your dashboard. And then you have two options here. You can go the S1 route or the S2 route. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with the S2 version of our templates, and we're going to select the personality quiz in here. Now, this is going to load up, and one of the biggest differences of our quizzes versus all the other options and templates that we provide is the quizzes provide a wizard for you to use to set up your quiz. It's used to set up your questions, your outcomes, and mapping them all together. This way you don't need to know any kind of coding. I know it's a scary word, but with this template and the way we've set it up, you don't have to worry about that at all. So I'm going to make sure I'm on the mode of edit off by clicking the top left corner button right here. And then I'm going to click the blue button at the top to open up the wizard. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over the outcomes. And so you'll set up the outcomes, decide, which all that you want people to potentially end up on, and then we'll move over into the questions. And you can have as many questions as you want, as many different amount of choices per question as well. You'll notice when setting up a question that each of the choices allow you to map it to an outcome. So this would mean that if someone selected a particular choice, because you've added an outcome in there, that means that outcome is attributed to their choice. And that's how we determine what outcome they end up on, is which outcome did they have the most of by making the different choices. Now you might be saying, well, what if it's an even amount at the end? Then it'll be a random selection between the two that they had the even amount that they ended up on. So you go through the wizard, set up your outcomes, set up your questions. You can add imagery in here as well, text-based choices. You can do a mix of both. And then once you're done setting that up, you'll exit the wizard, and then you'll go through the remainder of the builder to set up the other content, your header image at the top, the coloring, styling, so on and so forth. And then one note here is you'll see in the edit widget panel there is a form option attached to the campaign. What this form will do is it allows you to collect the participants' information. Of course, you can collect whatever details you want. But not only are we going to collect the questions that you add into the form, but we will also, in two hidden fields on the form, we will record the choices they made on each question and then the outcome that they ended up on. And then that way your data set is going to be full of that information. Not only will you be able to see that my name is Adam, here's my email address, but then here's all the answers to each of the questions, and then here is my outcome. So you can group me amongst all the other people with the same outcome and email us the same information. And then maybe Jessica ends up on a different outcome, and then you can go from there. And of course, like any other template with ShortStack, it could be a landing page, or you can iframe it onto an existing website. It's completely up to you. Great. Okay. Well, Jessica, do you want to talk about the different pricing options we have with regard to our quizzes?
I do. Thanks, Adam. The good news is that any paid ShortStack user has access to these templates and features that we mentioned in this training. They're all available on any of the paid plans, and you can try them out on a free trial as well. Okay, so take note of the links on the screen here. This is where you can reach out to us with any questions that may come up while you're building these templates out for yourself. But of course, since we have you here on the call now, we are happy to answer any questions that you've thought of. So with that, we're going to open it up to questions.
All right. Well, thank you, Jessica, for making that great video for us.
Yeah, you bet.
I'm going to switch my screen over to my ShortStack account. And while we're going to answer some questions, I thought I would go through creating a quiz so that you on the call, all of you that are on the call, are able to see that firsthand. Looks like we might have a question already. So let me go ahead and take a look at that. All right. Can I run a quiz without a form? And are quiz taker results still tracked if I don't use a form? The answer is no, you don't need to have a form. You can remove the form portion from the quiz. And what will happen is, as soon as I answer the last question, it'll take me straight to the result. Now, one of the downsides of doing that is it does not track the results and the answers that they made along the way. We need the form in order to do that, because within the form, and let me go ahead and show you this, within the form will be some hidden fields, one for the choices that they made for each question and one for the result. And so if there is no form, then those fields are not present, so we can't track it. Now, just because there's a form doesn't mean it has to be a contest or anything of the sort. It could be a great way to lead gen, just collecting some people's information. And you can make it as simple as you want by just saying, give us your email address. Or maybe you don't want to have any information collected other than the result or the answers. So what you could do is remove the email field, just keep the hidden fields, and then we'll still record it. You might want to change that submit button to say, show me my results. And then at that point, we are going to record the information. Now, not to be a stickler, but that information won't be connected to anyone's particular name or email address. So really all you're going to be doing is just compiling, we have this many results for, or this many people end up on this result, and then so on and so forth. You could still get some good information out of that, but nothing that you could really take a lot of action on an individual level. So I am going to start up a personality quiz. So I'm going to say use this template. Provide it whatever name you want. Now, if you are a heavy user of ShortStack, I always recommend to provide a name to your campaign that is unique to it. That way, if you're creating 10 quizzes, they're not all named personality quiz. Because if you do that, it'll be hard for you to know which one you need to work on. Create a campaign. Now, if anyone else has questions, feel free to type it into the Q&A area, and then you're also able to do it in the chat area too, but the Q&A will be best because that's where we're monitoring. I have another question here. Can people share their quiz results? Yes, they can. Let me go ahead and show you that real quick. Now, one note, our superb support team not only is available in chat, email support, but they're always working hard to create videos, help documentation, and the majority of our templates come with their own documentation and their own videos. So not only will you have this particular video that we're recording right now to fall back on if you have questions, but our personality quiz templates will also have their own that you are able to use. So here's my quiz that I'm going to start working on. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to configure it. Now, you want to make sure that you're in edit mode off. So you'll come up here and click this. So then it says edit off. That will allow you to click on the configure template button, which will open up the wizard. Now, what we do here is we start with the outcomes first. And the reason for that is once the outcomes are all set up, then you can easily map them out in the questions. Mapping them out, meaning when you set up your question, which is right here, then under the choices, you'll see where it says select outcomes. So by selecting pink Moscato here, that means if I make this choice, I'm putting a tally under pink Moscato. Now, at the end of my quiz taking, if the majority of my choices were linked to pink Moscato, that's the result that I would end up on, the outcome. So that's why we start with outcomes first, and then encourage you to start with your questions after that. Now, if I scroll down here to answer the original question of can people share their quiz results, you'll see right here, we have outcome label, outcome image, outcome content, which, a little advice, feel free to put links in here to link off to where they can learn about Pinot Noir or whatever the result outcome is that you put in here. You can include a link very easily by highlighting what you want to link and then click this, enter your link. Now, if I continue to scroll down, here's our sharing area. So you'll put in your Facebook title, your Facebook description, and your Twitter title. So these will show up as little icons on the outcome. The participant will click on the Twitter icon and it'll share out the Twitter title and a link back to the quiz. If I click on the Facebook, then it'll share the Facebook title, the description, and then the outcome image. I have another question here. Does ShortStack integrate with Klaviyo? Not directly, but we do have a neat integration called a webhook. You might be familiar with it, but any of you on the call that aren't, think of a webhook as a one-way bridge. ShortStack is on one side of the bridge and whatever you want to connect to is on the other side of the bridge. And so ShortStack can send the traffic, i.e. your entries that we collect through a form, across the bridge to the other side of wherever that bridge is connected to. Now, one of the best places to connect to is a platform called Zapier. I use it all the time for different actions, setups that I have set up through my sales processes. And so what you could do is connect it to Zapier, and you might want to check on this. I'm fairly confident that Zapier does connect to Klaviyo. And then at that point, what'll happen is we collect the entry in the form, we send it to Zapier via the webhook, and then because of your connection with Zapier to Klaviyo, it now gets placed into there. So think of Zapier, if you're not familiar with it, as a universal master key of the internet. And it connects to tens of thousands of platforms across the internet. So that would be a great way to do it. And at the end of the day, you can always export your entries as a CSV, which we'll provide you with, and then you can upload that into the platform you might be using. All right, we have another question here. Is the session being recorded and will it be available later? Absolutely, yes. We record all of our sessions and we'll make it available on our YouTube channel, and we will also send it out to our participants that signed up. Do I need to use images for the question answers? No, you don't. So if I go to questions, I can just remove this choice image and then I can just do choice text. So you have full control over just an image, just a text, or both. It's up to you. Now, with each of our questions, it's up to you on how many choices you want there to be. And it doesn't matter if you have 4 choices on one question and then 5 choices on the next question. You can control the number on each one independently from the rest. So if you want to, just provide more choices on a particular question, then go back to 2 for the rest or 3, perfectly fine. With ShortStack, we try to be as unrestrictive as possible. So what that would do is it allows you to do pretty much anything you want. And of course, if you are in here and you're like, you know what, I forgot what Adam was saying, I just need a quick answer on that, you are welcome to come down to our support bubble down here. And we have our live chat that you can utilize. We also have documentation that you can go through. And you can email us at theteam@shortstacklab.com. And our great team will be available to help you out all day. Right. I'm going to go ahead and hit save and exit. Now, for those of you that say, you know what, I don't want that form. I know it's not going to record the choices, it's not going to record the result, but I just don't want it. I just want something fun and engaging for my audience to participate in. That's fine. All you have to do is you can come over to this form container and you have 2 options. Either you can delete it entirely or you can click on the visibility icon that I just clicked on. So I got that by hovering over the container, clicking the visibility icon, and then I can go here and say inactive, hit save and exit, and you're all set. So now the form is disabled, or if I deleted it, same idea. And now when I answer the last question, it'll go straight to the outcome immediately. Now let's say you want to freshen up your quiz. It's been running for a little while on your website and you want to just change it up. get people excited for it again. You can absolutely keep it live with the same iframe or the same URL, not a problem. Just come into your builder, make the new updates that you want to make, and then I haven't published my campaign yet, so it's prompting me to do that. But if it was already published, what would happen is this button here would say publish changes. I click on that, and now my quiz is updated with the new questions, the new outcomes that I set up, and there's nothing else that I would have to do. All right. Well, it kind of seems like we've done a really good job today of answering some questions, but I see a couple more, so let's make sure that we get those answered. Can I publish this quiz on my website? Yes, you can. So when you go to publish your campaign, you would click publish, and this first screen here is a recommendations area that we'd like to provide you with. You can hit next, and then we'll provide you with two options. You can embed it on your website, and then you can also have it live as a landing page. Now, if you go with the landing page option, you do have the ability to do a vanity URL. There are instructions in there for setting that up. If I go embedded on website, what we'll do is we'll ask you to put in the URL for where the campaign is going to live. Now, if you don't know what that is yet, that's perfectly fine. Put in a placeholder and you can always come back and change that. The reason we ask you for the URL is so that when someone shares from the quiz, we make sure that the link that they're sharing comes back to where that URL is. Now, there is one note about sharing and having your quiz or whatever it might be embedded onto your website. Facebook is going to look at the domain of your website instead of what we're providing and using the shared details there. So you want to make sure that if you are going to embed it on your website, that you update the open graph information of your site, where the exact URL that you're putting it onto, to reflect the quiz. It may not be able to do individual results at that point because of how Facebook works, but you still want to make sure that you have something there when sharing. Of course, if you have questions about that, let us know and we can point you in the right direction. I have another question here. Thank you. We do use Integromat instead. I'll check if they have the ShortStack module. Well, I have to say I'm not familiar with that one myself. Most likely, they probably wouldn't have any kind of ShortStack module. If the platform that you're talking about is a CRM where your entries would be stored at the end of the day, then I would recommend checking out Zapier and see if they have the ability to connect to that CRM. Because if they do, we already have the setup to Zapier, and we actually have documentation to make that even easier to get set up with Zapier and ShortStack. We have another question here. Can I preview the quiz before publishing? Absolutely. Now, one thing I do want to mention about the fear of publishing before it actually goes live, it's okay to publish your campaign as a landing page. Maybe don't use the vanity URL if you are going to use one right away. But it's okay to publish it as a landing page and use one of our URLs that we provide you with, because one, it hasn't been indexed, and two, it's such a kind of discrete URL that nobody's going to find it on their own. And if they do, they should go play the lottery because they're very lucky. So it's perfectly fine to make it live as a landing page. And then that way, if you need to share it with your colleagues or a client, you can do that more easily by giving them that URL. Now, if you did want to preview it within the builder, all you would have to do is come up to preview. And now I can answer each of these questions. And then I would end up on my result, which I did not set up all the way, so that's why it's not showing up yet. But if I had, then it'll be displayed right here with all that information. Let me go ahead and refresh my screen so it's ready to go. Any other questions that I can answer for you guys? Let me make sure I'm scrolling down on my Q&A bar, make sure I don't miss anything. Apologies for the slow internet Zoom. My colleague's doing work in the background. It kind of slows us down a little bit from time to time. Right. Now, since I see that some of you have joined us from earlier, you may have missed a few things. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start over with a knowledge quiz. So I'm going to go view S1 template, and then I'm going to come down to knowledge quiz. I'm going to say use this template. That way I can show you what the differences are in setting up a personality quiz versus a knowledge quiz. So the biggest difference between the two templates is instead of an outcome at the end, like you get with the personality quiz, with the knowledge quiz, you're going to get a score. And the score is dictated on how well you answer each of these questions. The idea of how to set it up is pretty much the same. You still come up here and say configure. And then one of the changes already is the settings area where you have the ability to say, all right, I want to display the answers after each question. That way you can tell your participants right away if they got the question right or not. And then under questions, you'll go through and say, okay, question 1, here's all the choices. And then you would tell us which of the choices is the correct answer. And then if you are going to show the right answer after they make their choice, then you can say, all right, the answer is correct, and here's the information I want to tell you. A great way to give them a little bit more information about what that right answer was. Or if they got the answer incorrect, then you can customize the information for that as well. And then you'll go to outcomes, and this will be dictated a lot by how many questions there are to answer. But what you can do is you can use this slider to say, all right, if someone scored 0 to 20%, and then down here, you can customize the messaging that they would see for getting a score between 0 and 20%. And then I can go 20 to 73, which that changes based on the other results. So you can see if as I move this slider, the options up here will change as well. So very similar to the personality quiz, whereas you can have custom information show up based on how well they did. It's just dictated on how well they answered the questions. Everything else will remain the same. Click save and exit, and then you can have a form be displayed for them to fill out. We'll record the answers that they chose and the score that they got. And of course, you can remove the form as well and have them go straight to their score. All right. Well, I haven't seen any new questions come through. So I think I stand corrected. My apologies. I have do you have any case studies to share?
Adam, I just grabbed a link. I'm going to put it in the chat window for a case study.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Jessica here to save the day.
Yeah, so that's a customer success story of one of our users that created a personality quiz. I wasn't sure if you needed specific results, but you can also always go to our blog, and under customer stories, you could search for quiz, and then under customer stories, there's all kinds of case studies for all kinds of different types of campaigns, and I'm sure there are more utilizing quizzes.
Jessica, I didn't see it in the Q&A area. Would you be able to send me that link, and I can see if I can answer their question live?
Sure. Actually, I put it in the chat window.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Yeah. So if you guys look at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a little icon that says chat. You can just click there and you'll see that link.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, here. I am also going to just type it here just so we all have that information. Whoops. There we go. I just posted it in the Q&A area as well. So it's in the chat, it's in the Q&A. And I'm also going to put in the Q&A area our email address for you guys to be able to reach out to us with other questions. And you are able to ask us questions about case studies or maybe a helpful blog post. Reach out to us and we'll be happy to provide you links for that information as well. Our blog team is fantastic. We churn out new posts pretty much daily anymore. So a rich amount of information at any time. Well, I think that is all the questions that I think we're going to get. Just means we did a really good job with our video. So thank you, Jessica, again, for putting that video together.
Sure.
And being my partner in these fantastic webinars that we get to do. So regularly we have one of these about every 2 weeks, but we had one last week. We had one this week. So we're going to take next week off, but we will be back in just a couple of weeks to talk about, I believe, code redemption.
Yes,
And
actually, that's a perfect segue. I just wanted to plug our next training, which you're correct, it's on code distribution and also code redemption. So you're going to learn how to distribute code so that you can help boost your holiday sales. So it's just in time for the holidays. And also, we're going to show you how you can incorporate code redemption in your form so that you can require a code for people to submit the entry form in your campaign. So it's going to be a really useful tool, and it's also going to be brand new because we actually haven't officially rolled this feature out yet, but we will by the time we do our next training. So for those of you on the call, it's going to be brand new and you'll be learning about it firsthand. So we hope that you can join us for that. It's October 22nd, which is a Thursday, and it'll be at 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Fantastic. Can't wait. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. It's our pleasure to do this for you. Thank you for using ShortStack. Again, if you have questions about quizzes or just anything in general, reach out to us. We have live chat on the website within the platform, and you can email us at theteam@shortstacklab.com. Hope everyone has a great Thursday, a great weekend, and we look forward to working with you some more in the near future. Bye, everyone.